So it's kind of a slow time for Mortal Kombat news. Mortal Kombat movie news has been kind of kicking off. We've been seeing that kind of hit up. But as far as Mortal Kombat 12 30th anniversary news, it's been semi-quiet. We've had some leaks here and there. And, what's interesting is Ed Boon, we always go by his tweets and what he has to say. And he seems like he's kind of behind just a little bit. There's a picture that's been going on Twitter for a while now that he's just recently talked about as far as a fan at a WWE wrestling event, holding up the sign, wins MK12 Ed, trying to get that national exposure on Peacock. I guess is it still in the USA? I don't know, I haven't watched wrestling in forever, but nonetheless, it's been getting a lot of traffic as far as fans want to know, when is Mortal Kombat 12 really happening? I did a video recently talking about all the various gaming events that it could be happening at. There was a recent leak that came out as far as it going to be guaranteed for EVO. A lot of those things kind of come here and there, but we have a recent leak that supposedly guarantees the day, that's how most leaks are, gives us the leaked release date, and I'm also going to cover a leak that I kind of previously didn't get to talk about as far as Mortal Kombat Origins. Could this be the game that we've all been waiting for? Let's dive in and find out. Alright, so the first leak, again, this all comes from our lovely 4chan, and I have to say, one is from our familiar friend Anonymous, and one's not. So the Anonymous one is real short and sweet, so it's going to be titled Mortal Kombat 12 coming May 2023. Shocker, right? We've talked about these days. We've talked about when it could possibly be announced and released. We know it's going to possibly be sometime in the spring. So this particular leak says Mortal Kombat Remastered Anthology is going to come in November, and Mortal Kombat 12 is going to come May 26, 2023. I don't know how much we can really go off of specific dates this time around. I think it would have been better to say May 2023 and not actually just give a date. But, that's something that we possibly have to look forward to. We know that the 30th anniversary is coming up, so possibly an announcement could come then. And that kind of takes us into our second leak. And this is going to be, more of what Mortal Kombat 12 could be, what it's about. And then this leak also has its own release date. Now, this doesn't come from Anonymous, the second leak. This comes from Overeager Beaver. Interesting. So it says the game NetherRealm Studios is making is Mortal Kombat 12, but it's not going to be called Mortal Kombat 12. It's going to be called Mortal Kombat Origins. It does take place in the past, but only for the first few chapters. The Great Kung Lao wins his tournament for Earthrealm, and we then jump forward several hundred years to when MK2 would have taken place. The Great Kung Lao is still the reigning champion and teaches at the Wuxi Academy. It says Liu Kang, however, takes the initiative and invades Outworld after Shao Kahn threatens an invasion. That's different. That's a different take on it, right? It is a reboot, but not yet another... Excuse me. It is a reboot, but not another retelling. So I guess that's good. I mean, given the way they've done with the time, going back and forth, anything that they do could retcon and do stuff. And so even though it's not really a retelling, it could kind of be a retelling. Let's see. It goes on to say... From there, it branches out into its own unique story that has yet to be told in MK games. That part excites me. Let's see, it says 29 is the correct base roster. DLC is still going to be decided, but will be generous in its amount. We always throw these numbers up about how many characters we're going to get, who's going to be in the game, what we could get as the game progresses on. There are tons of fan service and callbacks to previous games in terms of roster selection and arena selection. A lot of y'all in my comments have been talking about the various stages and different types of game and mechanics you want to see in Mortal Kombat 12, so that kind of goes with that. Let's see, it says, the title Origins is a reference to the fact that we see more of the tournament in this game than we have in a long while, and I think that's pretty true. And they take the time to build upon the lore of the tournament's history, its founding, and how it will be used going forward. I think that's a very interesting dynamic, given that just specifically with the Great Kung Lao and his lore, as far as being Earth's champion and then getting beat by Shang Tsung and Goro, I think that's a very interesting telling. These games were based off of tournaments. That's what Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 12, slightly Mortal Kombat 3, I feel like we kind of started deviating at that point. So I feel like from there, we're kind of going back to basics, which hence the name Origin. So I think that's a pretty clever way of doing things. It says the roster will include returning faces like Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Liu Kang, Reptile, not previously in Mortal Kombat 11, Kitana, Raiden, Baraka, Johnny Cage, Sonya Blade, Jax Briggs, Smoke, Quan Chi, again, not in Mortal Kombat 11, and Aaron Black. So most of those names we recognize, we're getting some new ones, and it says we will also get long-forgotten characters like Kai, Reiko, Lee Mei, and Shujinko. Okay, I can get on board with all those. Now here's where it's interesting. There's going to be 3 new characters. The Great Kung Lao and a new boss and sub-boss. Now in previous videos I've talked about those could possibly be new titans or gods that we have not seen previously in any Mortal Kombat game, maybe referenced in some way or just kind of following the same pattern and schema that we have in mythology, but that's possibly who that could be. Let's see, it goes on to say, though the correct spelling for the sub-boss is Tython, Sojo is another female boss character. Oh, Sojo, another female boss character, is the main boss. They're lovers and both are titans. See, I didn't get to read further down. He's a titan of immortality and she's a titan of the dawn. Another play on the title Origins. They're Dominic's riff on Eos and... Okay, yeah, because when I remember talking about this in the video, that's basically in relation to the current titans that we've seen in God we've seen so far. These kind of build upon that. The kind of higher-ups or just extensions of those. All right, now here goes some more timelines that we have going on. So this says... A reveal could be in October and a release in April 2023. So I think with a lot of these leaks, I think a lot of them are, we can honestly say, if we're going to get anything about Mortal Kombat as far as a game release, whether it be a 30th anniversary title, a remaster and an anthology, Mortal Kombat 12 news, October I think is going to be our best chance. I don't think we're going to see anything before then. I think with what's going on with Warner Brothers Discovery, you know, that's pretty much set in stone. I think with possibly Warner Brothers Discovery trying to sell off Warner Brothers games or any extension, little, you know, subdivisions of that division, I think that might put a hold on things. I think they're still hiring for people at NetherRealm Studios, so maybe that's just kind of prolonging things as well. So I think if we're going to get an announcement, it's going to be in the fall. I think it's going to be around the 30th anniversary, if we get anything. Now, as far as the release date, I think a lot of these leaks have been the same and consistent as far as talking about we're going to get something in the spring. Again, in a previous video, I talked about how that's been the consistency with basically the game releases. It's been in the spring. Various in the past, like we're talking about older MK titles have been in the summer or the fall, but the majority of the newer ones, the more modern titles, they've been released in the spring. So what do you think about the leaks? What do you think about the release date? Do you think spring is the date that we could possibly see a game come out? Do you think October could be the announcement time, you know, in the fall? And what do you think about this idea about Mortal Kombat Origins? Or, I mean, do you think, you know, we know obviously time is going to play a factor, a big factor. It did in the first, you know, Mortal Kombat 11. It's going to play more of a hand in this one. But I think this is, you know, a lot of leaks have given some great details. I like the idea about the Titans, and I like this idea about kind of going back to the roots of Mortal Kombat, you know, kind of like a 360 effect. So what do you think about that idea of Mortal Kombat Origins? Is that something that you want to see? Again, as I always ask in my videos for these, who do you want to see in the game? What features do you want to see back? And yeah, what are your wish lists? Love to see them down in the comment below. And that's it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed, the like button. For more of this one, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time on the Mashup.